Teens Voice Academy, preparing adolescents for a significantly impactful adult life.
Parenting has to be intentional for it to be effective. I remember on one of our posts on Instagram, somebody said, it appears as though parenting is a full job. Well, the truth of the matter is this: parenting is full job. It's not something you do half-time. And if you do it well, you get a better result from the life of your children. And today, in this particular video, we're looking at what I call show me your teenager, and I will show you your parenting style. So now, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, they are totally a different discussion. So what we want to show you is how your parenting style has affected the kind of teenager you currently have today. Pay attention for learning, pay attention for the adjustments you need to make. And the truth of the matter is that there are 2 points that are coming across to you. I'm telling you the kind of teenager you probably have and how your parenting style has produced the teenager you currently have. My name is 𝐓𝐄𝐿, and this is a special video coming to you from Teens Voice Academy. So number one, the confident teen. Now, the confident teen has self-discipline, is emotionally stable, responsible, communicate well with parents. Now, the parenting style that produces that kind of teenager is the authoritative parent. Now, an authoritative parent is a parent that is supportive but firm. A parent that set clear boundaries while encouraging independence in their teenagers. This kind of parent balances discipline with warm and open communication. Now, I would like to tell you the effects this has on the teenagers. Now, when you do this helps teenagers develop strong problem-solving skills and resilience when faced with life struggle. Now, this has possibility of helping you develop teenagers that have self-confidence and emotionally intelligent. They build healthy relationship with peers and adults. The effect of this kind of parenting style makes the teenager independent and, help them make well thought out decisions. Now, the number 2 teenager we have is the identity crisis teen. Now, when you say a teenager is an identity crisis teen, you're dealing with a teenager that is confused about rules and expectations from the parent. You're dealing with a teenager that struggles with self-identity. You're dealing with teenagers that may test limits in order to find consistency. They make mistakes in order to even know what the parents are talking about. And guess what? The kind of parenting style that produces this kind of teenager that has identity crisis is the inconsistent parenting style. Now, when we say inconsistent parenting style, we're dealing with a parenting style that is unpredictable and switches between different kind of parenting style, between strict and permissive parenting, and it varies between different kind of options. And now, this kind of parenting style is also inconsistent with rules and expectations. So there are no clear cuts as to, okay, this is what is expected. At times something goes, at times there's a switch, okay, this does not. So it causes the teenagers to be confused and they have identity crisis. Now, this can lead to confusion and, of course, understanding the boundaries and the values of the family. The effect that this has on teenagers are as follows. You're looking at a teenager that is emotionally unstable with difficulty in self-regulation. You're looking at teenagers who struggle with forming secure relationship because, of course, it's an inconsistent parenting style. Teenagers like this frequently seek external validation in order to fill the void of inconsistency of guidance. Now, they may develop self-doubt and low self-esteem. Number 3, the kind of teenager, if you have them, you're looking at the overprotected teenager. When we say a teenager is overprotected, we're looking at a teenager that lacks independence, a teenager that struggles with decision making, a teenager that is overwhelmed by failure. Now, what kind of parenting style produces this kind of teenager? We're looking at a parenting style that is called the helicopter parenting style, often on the teenager. Now, this kind of parenting are the type you call they are overprotective and micromanaging. The closely monitors everything and every aspect of this teenager's life. They rarely allow the teenager to handle challenges alone. Any small thing, they are the camp, they are calling them anytime there's a crisis, I'm coming to pick you. It has effect on your teenager, because if they don't face challenges, they won't know how to manage challenges when you are not there. The effect of this kind of parenting style on teenagers is that it produces teenagers with low self-esteem. It produces a teenager who will rely on external approval for validation. It produces teenagers that struggle with self-sufficiency and problem-solving skills. And I mean real-life problem-solving skills. Often, teenagers with this overprotected parenting style, they are anxious and fearful of making mistakes, of course, because they are looking at their back. They may have difficulty handling real-world challenges. Number 4 is the entitled teen. Now, when you say a teenager is an entitled teen, we're dealing with teenagers who feel entitled. They feel like the world owes them something. They feel like their parents owe them something. And that's because, of course, everything they ask for, their parents allow them to do it. Now, they're dealing with teenagers who have low frustration or pressure tolerance level. They struggle with and avoid responsibility. Teenagers like this, they expect life to be easy and effortless. They expect everything to be given to them. They don't understand the value of labor. They don't understand the value of making efforts. They don't understand the value of making informed decisions that even affect their own life. And of course, the kind of parenting style that produces a teenager that is entitled is the permissive parenting style. And that will mean a parenting style that just allow anything their teenager is okay. Can I do this? Yeah. Can you go there? Yeah. Can you go there? Yeah. You know, to them, everything is fine. Now, they indulge and they're lenient. They avoid setting firm boundaries and enforcing discipline, because to them is love. They have their mind. I don't want them to be upset. I don't want to break their self-esteem. And what have you? Remember, well, maybe you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, you should look at our previous video where I said, the psalmist said, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You're going to be raising a teenager in 21st century. There have to be defined boundaries. There have to be reward, and there have to be consequences for their action. And I said in the video that rod is for correction. The Bible says foolishness abounds in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it away from it. Then they said, thy staff comforts me. So there's a time you have to comfort, and there's a time you have to correct. Now, of course, parents like this prioritizing making the teen happy rather than preparing them for responsibility in life. Now, the effect this kind of parenting style have on teenagers is you're looking at teenagers that are poor with self-discipline and have difficulty handling adversities and challenges as they come. They challenge authority and struggle to respect and follow basic rules, whether at home or outside of the house, because where they come from, everything goes. They can't behave themselves properly. They don't understand what it is to say, sit there. They don't get it, because, of course, they came from a home where their parents allowed them to do everything. They find it hard to adapt to structured environments like school or workplace and follow rules and instruction because of the parenting style. They struggle with delayed gratification. They struggle to focus on certain long term, because everything has to come now, and they don't get it. They are frustrated, they are unhappy, they are upset. Number 5 is the fearful and secretive teenager. Now, when you say a teenager is fearful or secretive, we're looking at an overly compliant teenager that likes to avoid punishment. They are obsessed with pleasing parents, even if it involves lying. They avoid sharing mistakes to maintain a perfect image before their parents. They are secretive and deceitful to escape consequences. They may develop resentment and rebellion over time, of course, because of who the situation has made them. Now, what kind of parenting style produces a teenager like that? You're dealing with the authoritative parenting style. The authoritarian parenting style, because the authoritarian parenting style is different from the authoritative parenting style, which is the ideal parenting style, in my own opinion. The authoritarian parenting style is those who say, sit down there, don't go there. You know, they just give instruction, really. They are strict and controlling. They demand obedience without questioning or being sensitive to the concerns and the emotion of their teenager. Focuses on meeting material needs. Parenting style like this, they focus on, I just need to buy them clothes. What I buy them clothes, that's all. While neglecting emotional connection with the teenagers. They use fear and punishment as a primary disciplinary method for the teenager. And what effect does this kind of parenting style have on teenagers? They produce teenagers that prioritizes perfection over learning from mistakes. They produce teenagers that have low self-esteem and struggle with self-expression and confidence. They produce teenagers that are fear-driven rather than decision-making, leading to what? Indecisiveness. Difficulty in forming open and trusting relationship is what this kind of parenting style will produce in the life of a teenager. Number 6 is the emotionally disconnected teen. Now, when you say a teenager is emotionally disconnected, you're looking at independent but emotionally detached. Teenagers like this seek validation through peers and social media. They are prone to substance abuse and risky behavior. Now, you may want to ask, what kind of parenting style produces a teenager like this? Now, remember, in this particular video, what we're dealing with, show me your teenager and I'll tell you your parenting style or the parenting style that produces this kind of teenager. So what kind of parenting style produces this kind of teenager? You're looking at the parenting style that you call the neglectful or the remote parenting style. Now, you're dealing with parenting style that parents rather that are emotionally and physically unavailable. They are too busy or disengaged to be involved in the life of their teenage goals. They lack open communication and emotional bonding. They don't spend time with their teenagers because to them, really, once I provide for them, they are busy. I got to travel and all of that. What kind of effects does this parenting style have on your teenager? You're going to produce a teenager that has low self-esteem, a weak sense of self-worth. You're going to produce teenagers that struggle with attachment forming, and forming deep relationships. You're going to produce teenagers that have high risk of unhealthy coping mechanism like addiction or peer pressure. You're going to produce teenagers that seeks belonging and attention in potentially harmful places. And that's why they probably go into drugs, they go into sex, they go into all kinds of things in order, of course, to deal with their situation. Last but not the least in this particular video is the overburdened teen. Now, when you say a teenager is overburdened, you're dealing with a teenager that is highly responsible but emotionally drained. Teenagers like this struggles with the ability to say no. They don't know how to say no because they're overburdened. They are raised to be man pleasers. They are raised to be pleasing everybody. And of course, they will find difficulty in saying no and setting boundaries. Now, they constantly are under pressure. They may feel resentment towards their parent because they are overburdened. Now, what kind of parenting style produces a teenager that is overburdened is what you call the parentified parenting style. Now, what does parentified parenting style mean? It means these parents actually relies on their teenager for emotional support and adult responsibilities. They want that teenager to play the role of mother in their life or the role of father in their life, forgetting that these are teenagers that are still forming and that need to do well. They forces the teenager to take on caregiving responsibility, and that may include financing and even watching over the other siblings like they are the father or the mother of the other siblings that they have. They treat the teen as though they are emotional crutchet rather than a child that is still growing on. Now, what kind of effect will this kind of parenting style have on the teenager? You're going to have teenagers that are burnt out and emotionally exhausted. You're going to raise teenagers that misses out on key teenage experiences. It's like taking their teenagehood or what they call their childhood from them. You're going to raise teenagers that struggles with forming a healthy sense of self and self-worth. You're going to raise teenagers that have the tendency to be antagonistic and quarrelsome due to built-up resentment or bottled up emotion. You are going to raise teenagers that avoid family interaction to maintain peace of mind and quietness. Now, here is my final thought to you. Your teen's behavior is a reflection of your parenting style. While no parent may be said to have it all or having it all together, being intentional and having a balanced approach is what I will recommend. And because this will shape their resilient, their confident, and produce for you a well-adjusted teenager. Now, which parenting style resonates with you the most in this video? What changes are you going to make to guide your teenager toward a healthier adulthood? We would like to know in the comment section. You can send us a message and we'll discuss this further. I would like to say at this point, cheers to your great life. P Wealth cares.